welcome to Neurotrain Collaborative Podcast. We have a special edition today. Ms. Katie and Ms. Kelly are not with us on this one for today, but we are going to bring in one of our clients who has gone through our year-long coaching program, Unlock Your True Potential, for the last, has it been a year and a half now?
Yeah, I think almost 2 years
That's
coming up.
awesome. And we're going to learn more about what she's gotten out of our program and how this has affected her life. Many of you know Macy, her daughter. You guys have seen the infamous video of Macy being able to
Yeah,
walk after putting a Z vibe in her mouth. So Kathi is Macy's mom, and she's here to join us and share her story today. So Kathi, welcome to the show.
thank you. I'm
Yeah,
happy to be here.
so grateful that you joined us today. So I guess some of the questions I have to kind of start us off is, where were you before you met us? I know. And then what was that like for you to see Macy have such a dramatic transformation? Because I know that was part of what got you interested in maybe trying our program out. So I'd love for you to
Totally,
share a little bit about that.
totally. So I am a nurse by training, hospice specialty, but a nurse all the same. So Western medicine, um, a lot of interest in homeopathics along the way, and that kind of stuff. But what really triggered it for me, so yes, I had a lot of health issues of my own. I had a crush injury in my spine that was debilitating, um, often. And then Miss Macy came to you guys, and it was so um, stunning, for one, to watch, because I struggled knowing she was going to the ER and that they couldn't help her and they couldn't figure it out. And then she said, and I was there that day that video was taken, and I was like, okay, so it's repeatable, obviously, what you were doing with the Z Vibe. And that really triggered my interest because, again, I traveled down that Western medicine pathway for a long time, had surgeries, all the things. So that really triggered me and it interested me. And I really was to the point where I just couldn't function going the way that I was going. I was exhausted, overworked, burnout, and just in pain all the time, on pain meds, and really not wanting to be where my life was headed. And I'm 66 now. So I was 64 then, and I realized if I didn't change something, everything, um, I I would be my patients ultimately pretty soon. So that was a huge motivator. Yeah, definitely motivated me to make a difference. And after seeing what you did with Macy, I was super interested to find out how far I could go and what could I change, because at that point I didn't know.
That's so awesome. And I know that you said that you're a nurse by trade and you kind of touched on that you've tried different Western medicine stuff. Um, I know you've also tried other alternative modalities. You're kind of
Yeah,
open-minded to all kinds of body care. One thing that we teach, obviously, in our course is um, everything is a tool. And it's just understanding what role does the tool play for you, right?
yeah.
And how do you know it's the right tool for you? Tell us a little bit more about other modalities you've tried, maybe some of the benefits you saw with those, and then maybe the difference between um, maybe the lens you had before neurotrain and then the lens that you had
Yeah,
post neurotrain.
that that's pretty, it's such a wide shift. So yes, I've done acupuncture and massage and energy therapies, Reiki, Qigong, Tai Chi, um, all kinds of things, herbs, vitamins, change my diet, change everything. Um, and then the problem with all of that is I would get some relief. And I mean, I stuck with those things for a long time. I even did surgery and pain meds and muscle relaxers. And so all of them, including all of the alternative ones, the problem is I didn't get any long-term relief from it. It's like as soon as I stopped, it never took it away completely. and I still was struggling emotionally and mentally, even if I got some physical relief from those things, because they did help, but it was no kind of solution. And again, I felt like I had really reached the end of all of the options, and if I didn't go to China and try something really drastic. And now on the flip side, later with, I know I thought about it, because when you're at the end, you're at the end. But now I know that truly the problem with all of that for me, including my nursing training and all of the homeopathic stuff that I tried, all the alternative stuff I tried, the biggest problem is that I see now is the total disconnect between the actual cause of why things are happening in my body. It's not the things at all that I was taught. It's not the things at all that um, the tools that I had before are nothing like the tools I have now. And now it has changed literally every aspect of my life because now I understand, like you said, the neuroscience behind it and really what my body is doing versus what my mind is doing, which is a really big shift. And now I just feel like I have all the tools, um, and I just keep learning more every session. So it's huge, huge switch.
That's so awesome. I know when you started the coaching program, there were a few things. I mean, obviously all the information was new, so there's like the learning curve of like learning, oh, wait, my eyes might be playing a role in something or whatever.
Yeah.
Um one of the just to kind of give you guys a little background, one of the things that Kathy came in initially with is because she's a nurse, she had to do charting, and it was one of the worst points of her day because she just hated it so much, and it takes a lot of focus, and then you have to sit for long periods of time. And then another thing that I remember too is fear of walking backwards, you know.
Yeah.
And I we had a couple of amazing moments in a small group class that we have in our coaching program where Kathy was doing some vestibular work, walking forwards and backwards, and was able to A, and then B also tested really well with that. And then also we found some tricks to help her improve her vision, improve her focus, and her attention span. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So some of the things, and it's not just so much too about learning new things. It was equally as much as unlearning all of the things that I had been told my whole life. This is how this works. So for me with my charting, my brain would just say you're lazy, you don't want to do it, you're just kind of like a failure. But what we ultimately figured out was, I had no fuel to do it because I'd come home tired and I just wanted to get it done. So literally I was not helping all of the key things that I needed: energy, focus, resetting my whole body instead of just dragging my day with me to my computer. Picking the time of day, even that was huge for me when I figured out I couldn't chart in the afternoons. It was so much more effort, and if I charted in the mornings, it was so much easier. So it was just learning again, unlearning all of the things that my brain was the story, that I just wasn't. And I was a pretty big perfectionist, so I all of those things just seeped every day, and then every time I sat down to do it, it would just stress me out even more. And now I've realized the time of day does matter. Whether I have food on board or not matters. Um, Everything. Just even doing some of the drills before I would sit down and do it, I cut my charting time in like half easily. And now it doesn't stress me out anymore. So, yeah. But again, I had to unlearn all of those things that I kept telling myself. And it's such a common complaint in nursing. And then I just want to say, hey, it really doesn't have to be that way. It's not because we're not doing our jobs, it's because we're trying to do them in the wrong context.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome. And it's funny. So we have a lot of colleagues that do a lot of what we do. But I think what's unique about the Neurotrain Collaborative Group and some of our other colleagues that also do the Ray Peat stuff, the Ray Peat inspired pro metabolic eating, blah, 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 is that we look at kind of a really the holistic picture of the person, and a lot of times people, they hire trainers thinking that they want to lose weight or some kind of body goal, I want to get stronger,
Yeah.
and they think that everything that is centered around health has to do with fitness. And really it's not. Health and fitness are not synonymous. um a lot of fit people are still very unhealthy and deal with anxiety and depression and temperature issues and thyroid issues, and it's something that's not really well known. But we have what's so cool that I think that was powerful for you that you just said was that one thing was figuring out what was the right time of day. Was there a
Mhm.
better time of day where you had better resources, maybe better focus? Finding drills that helped you cut your charting time in half. I mean, that's amazing.
It
Uh,
was and is. Yeah, still to this day. Yeah.
Certain things that unlock, the brakes that might be holding you back that you might be unaware of, right? Um, Tell us a little bit more. Well, and then the last one was the fuel piece, which is I love that you kind of trickled that in because that was a big thing is, finding out the chocolate milk was actually like the perfect snack for you during
I
charting.
know.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, because losing weight is always at the foremost of what we're taught to be healthy, you have to lose weight. And as a nurse in my car all day long, I don't really like to eat first thing in the morning. Um, Probably because I was eating all the wrong things, so I would feel like crud. But I'd go out the door, I'd get busy with all my patients, I'd come home, I would try to chart, and then along about 4 o'clock, I would try to eat something or I would snack on something in my car. And then I said, I'm not doing fast food anymore. Well, that left me with little options because I didn't know how to navigate that. So it made a huge difference to figure out that, or actually to learn that it's not just the calorie intake or fuel, it's fuel for my brain. And if my brain's not working right, then my body's not going to work right because they are so connected in ways that I never really understood. And I certainly never got taught it in nursing school ever. But now that I understand more about what's actually going on, like with my eyes, so walking backwards, that was a really big deal. I blew my ear out years ago, right? And I could not walk backwards at all because I would fall down every single time. I had no balance backwards. And when we started working, and all of a sudden I could like walk backwards and not fall down for one, and not even feel dizzy or get nauseous. That was such a huge, like, wait a minute, everything I thought I knew wasn't correct. And it just wasn't accurate. And that's my favorite word is it accurate? Is what my brain is telling me accurate? Before it would just tell me, don't do it because you'll fall. And it had a lot of evidence to support that. But now it's like, oh, now you can do it. You just have to do it the right way. You have to know what you're doing. So
That's
yeah,
so cool.
I've learned so much about how my body can work, you know. It's been amazing. It's an amazing journey. Still is.
And I think that's what's I love. I have to give Dr. Cobb major credit for how he set up the Z Health performance certifications because it really taught us as practitioners how to teach ourselves and how to teach our clients how to be scientists, ultimately
Yeah.
with yourself. And Ray Pete also has that philosophy that, um, how you respond matters to stuff,
Yeah.
not one size fits all. And that you're a dynamic system and you're going to change, as you live your life.
Hmm.
And so you get to kind of, as Zachariah calls it, meander towards greatness. Um, on this journey of health, discovering things about yourself and finding out what works and what doesn't work. Um, the last piece I wanted to kind of touch on here is one of the things that we teach in our coaching program. We kind of center the focus around 8 daily habits. So, neuro drills are definitely a piece of that.
Hmm.
That's one daily habit. We've got the nutrition side, of course. Then we've got exercise and movement. We've got breathing that matters. Improved sleep. Improving your
Hmm.
sleep quality is crucial for any kind of health or healing, happy life. um, Getting out into the sunlight or red light, getting exposure to light is crucial for healthy metabolic function and just health in general. Um, But then there's also the aspects that I think get left out sometimes, which are, having a strong community that you feel connected to,
Mhm.
and having like playful, fun, healthy relationships in your life. So community and play is one of our categories, and then the other one is well-being. And one of the biggest transformations I saw for you was finding out that, because I mean, we can do all the neuro drills and nutrition stuff in the world, but if you have a toxic environment or a toxic work life
Mhm.
or a toxic family life, things like that can, I mean, there's not enough drills or nutritious foods in the world to change that, right? So one of the breakthroughs that you had in our program was kind of recognizing some things that weren't working for you and then making that
Yeah.
shift. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, nursing has always been a tough field, and we just have really big hearts. Most nurses I know, we give our all the time to everybody else. And with the, COVID coming in, and again, I work hospice and I love hospice, but it was to the point where I felt like no matter how much I gave, it was never enough. And I couldn't do enough, even though I tried my hardest to do it all. And I expected myself to do it all. That was probably the bigger issue, was I really expected myself to do it all and do it well. And I held myself to that high standard. But it's unsustainable in that environment for sure. And it's unsustainable when I don't have anything to back it up anymore. And so it really brought me through the thought process and the emotions of being able to just say, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to give my all. I can say no. I had no boundaries, and I had a whole lifetime of learned no boundaries. But through this program, I learned to make healthy boundaries for me, which in turn made it better for my family too. But um, God, I used to just be so shut down about, uh, having to keep continuing to do more and more and more. And it was costing me across the board. So you're right. I quit my job. I found another job that I still am in hospice. I love it. Absolutely. Um, and I could not have done that before because I obviously hadn't done it before. So it's not like I just got to this age and said, oh, okay, now I'm going to switch everything up. I got the tools to change it in a way. And it took me a while, but I finally could see where, again, my brain was tricking me this whole time. And I was taught that that's the way you have to be. If you're a nurse, you have to do this. And so that was a huge learning part for me too. Again, giving me the tools to say, what do I really want to do? And what am I willing to do? And do I have the sugar cubes? Do I have the energy to do that? For sure. And up until this program, no, I didn't. I just kept plugging away, trying to make it better. Yeah. And now
So
it's so much better. Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, if you were to describe our coaching program to our listeners and what you've gotten out of it since you've joined, what you love about it, um, what would you say to people that are listening that have never heard of this or never didn't even know that we offered this? What would you say about our coaching program?
I would say, hands down, it is the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I'm so grateful that Macy found you first, because I don't know that I would have otherwise. But literally, I have relearned myself and my family and just my body, even my brain. Um, I have so much more freedom in my life. And I don't mean just like financial freedom, but I mean emotional freedom and physical freedom, and just to not be in pain all the time and have that wear you down, because it does just wear you down. It's like, it's always amazing to me of how far I've come, literally in 2 years, considering where the first 64 brought me and where I am in the last two. And it makes me so excited to see what I can do. And the truth is, no one else teaches this, because I've been, in a lot of educational experiences, but no one else teaches me how to change my own life, um, pretty much instantly. If I'm having a day or a moment or whatever, then I can stop and do something to reset it immediately. I don't have to wait. I don't have to do exercises and wait 6 weeks to see the results. It's like, oh no, I can do that now. And that's what you guys have brought to me. So much more knowledge about how the body really works and how much control we have over our own bodies, which I did not feel before. Yeah. So it's amazing. I encourage everybody to do it. You'll find out so much more about your life and who you are, and most importantly, be who you want to be because you can create that. That's what I have.
That's so awesome. One thing that we talked about in our workshop recently was like the cost. And we talk about this in the program, the cost of making the change or not making the change, right? And I hear, for a lot of people, finances are obviously a thing that goes into decision making. Um, but I was, after doing this for 20 years, and not just Z Health, I've been a trainer and massage therapist for 20 years, and seeing people investing their money into the idea of preventative care. And I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people who maybe didn't want to do that. I have my own family members and friends that have gone different routes, and I've never really seen. For me, it was the investment of money taking I don't wanna pick on certain modalities, but let's say the Western style of things ultimately resulted in a lot of medications for some people, and then those medications having side effects, and then that over time deteriorating and slowly kind of just like, getting by, I think, dealing with aging and degeneration, which costs sometimes surgeries, and when you have surgeries or illness, that's time off work, that's stress on the family. These are things that people I don't think of long term, where I'm a big believer on if you have the tools available and have the ability to really improve your health today, it saves you some of those stressors of life that could be avoided potentially,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that this is the answer to everything and that you can completely avoid any kind of circumstance in the future. I mean, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying to be strong for life and have strength and pain-free movement and good sleep and happiness, and to be able to relax and have joy in your life and like that quality of life to me, um ultimately, for I'm the kind of person where I will pay whatever I need to attain that, because I've seen the other side of it. I saw my
Yeah.
dad with cancer, my grandpa who just recently passed away, and him being on medications and the struggles that he had, trying to heal stuff along the way after, 85 years of, not doing that. It's sometimes it's a 2020 in hindsight kind of situation. And so do you have any thoughts on that you wanna share?
Yeah. So if I really sat and added up all of the money that I have invested in everything else, not even just Western medicine, but everything else, um, I would, I would be the Elon Musk of if I hadn't have spent that way. But the reason, we're taught that those are our options. And we're taught that again, you go down this road and you're right, you go to a doctor. Well, and look what happened to one of my daughters, sent to 15 different specialists and none of them could figure it out. And all of that cost huge amounts of money. So for me right now, I know it's not about the money for me at all because I've already spent so much and had absolutely not even anywhere comparable results. So for me, this is a lifelong thing because I do get such consistent results. I keep going forward all the time. Um, what I spent in prescriptions alone before would pay for my program for a year. That is the truth. And honestly, I have to say this. So as a nurse, you always want to go and take your career farther. And I've thought about being a nurse practitioner because I am a nerd and I like to know and I really like to help people. But I decided after probably in the second part of neurotraining that I couldn't do it. I ethically couldn't do that. And I don't mean this as in anything bad if that's what you are doing, but for me personally, I did not want to go learn more Western medicine of where I could just give a patient a pill and not help them and be at the beck and call of the insurance companies. So for me right now, if I have somebody that comes to me for help, I'm like, you should go learn about neurotrain because it will change your life. And I don't say, well, you should go to your doctor and get more medicines or find out what they think because I know what they think. They taught me what they think. And it didn't help enough at all. So I reached that point where it matters. Um, it matters to have control over your life. It's so powerful. I can't express that enough. It's so powerful. The changes that you can and will make. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Kathy. And I want to make sure we make a little segment here where we say, look, if you're a doctor or nurse, thank you so much for what you do
Yeah.
because it's
Please.
needed.
Yeah. Please don't
um,
take offense. I am not a doctor, but this was my personal experience with my own health. And that's really all I can speak to is the difference of just what I learned and what I do and how I feel now. And yes, if I needed, a trauma, if I had a trauma, I would go to the hospital, but then I would come see you like right away so that I could get better. So yeah, so please don't take offense to that. We are taught this is the way the world works, and it's not true for me in any way anymore.
That's so
So
awesome. And if you again don't know what we do, it's a blend of Z Health Performance is like a blend of functional neurology, classic neurology, and modern pain science in a kind of a holistic body work and movement template. And so a lot of that research is fairly new, and there's the 30 years that it takes to do the research, and then there's a 15-year filter for it to hit, popular knowledge basically for it to become well known for doctors and stuff. So a lot of this stuff is just new information, and
mhm.
I respect Dr. Cobb a great deal because he does update the curriculum every 6 to 9 months with current research, and that's pretty much. I have not met another certification series that is that on top of it. So just wanted to make sure I dropped that pin in there. Thank you to all of you healthcare professionals, whoever you are, whatever you're doing. Um,
Yes.
there's some pretty cool, exciting stuff out there about neuroplasticity that's coming out. There's a lot of really great information about um, really the regenerative properties of cells and how you can heal your metabolism and thyroid function with lots of doctors and scientists that have been around for a long time that might not be mainstream knowledge. So if you're interested, you can always check out our link tree. We definitely cite a lot of our articles there. You can of course look at our website and always reach out to us and ask more questions. So
Yeah,
Kathy,
I just encourage people to find out for themselves because what works for some people in this training may not work for me, but I learn what works for me and they learn what works for them. And sometimes it's the same and sometimes it's very different, but I encourage people to find that out for themselves and just see how far you can take it because it's amazing. It's been amazing for me. Yeah.
that's so
And the
awesome.
community is awesome. I love participating with all these great souls too. It's so cool.
That's so cool. And if you're interested in our coaching program, we have a link up in our link tree, and that is in our bio.
Mhm.
So make sure to check it out.
Yeah.
Kathy, thank you so much for your time today. Really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here with us.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me tell people. I just think it's so amazing. And yeah, I just find out for yourself. That would be the best. Yeah. So
Awesome.
thanks so much.
Thank you.